Hello and welcome to the Rustic Spirit podcast. This is our fifth episode. And tonight we have special guest Ernie Atwell. I'm super excited to be talking about him and talking with him tonight. He's got a new book release out, coming out September 21st, I think is when it drops. So we'll ask him when we get on there. But I wanted to give a thank you and a big shout out to our sponsors. We have Moon Miss Crystals, who are it's an amazing little crystal shop in Glenmore, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Pottstown. And if you're ever in the area, she has probably the best prices I've ever seen around. But just the energy in that shop is just so amazing. Please, if you're in that area, please go check it out. And then we have Unique Paranormal 1.5. And that is in honor of Holly Cataldo. Her daughter decided to keep her name alive and go into the field of investigation and keep that on with us. So you go check them out at Unique Paranormal 1.5 on Facebook. You can find them. And then I wanted to give a little shout out to myself here. We have some Rustic Spirit hoodies and t-shirts. We have short sleeve and long sleeve, and then hoodies. On the front is our logo, and then on the back is be the light in someone's darkness. I think that's so important right now that we help lift each other up. And then this is our upcoming events that you can find us at. I think up until October, there will be more coming for that. And then this is our next event. It is at the West Virginia Penitentiary. It's a horror and Paracon. I will be speaking there on Saturday, I believe at 2. And we have a bunch of other wonderful speakers. And if you buy the tickets to the investigation on Friday the 13th and Saturday, the overnight investigations, you get a pass to the Paracon with your ticket. So please go check them out. And if you're it is worth a trip if you've never been to West Virginia Penitentiary. Like it is, I can't even, it is probably one of the spookiest places I've ever been to. So without further ado, we're going to have Ernie Atwell as our guest tonight. This is his new book. It's called It's Halloween. He's going to talk to it all about it. It's not his only book. So we're going to talk about all of his other books and his life as an investigator and his life in general. So I am going to add him on now. Hello, Ernie. How are you?
Hello. Hey, Stacy. Hey, Gary.
Yeah, Gary got here just in time, didn't he?
Gary just came out of nowhere.
Right. Sorry, he's got to put his ears in. It's almost like it was timed that way, wasn't it?
I'm telling you, that was perfect timing, man. He must know what he's doing.
And welcome, Ernie.
What's up?
Yes.
Ding, ding.
Oh, your bell. You need your bell. Sorry.
I'm having a hard time here.
The bell. So, yeah, I think his earpiece is not working very well right now. So, Ernie, you and I are friends. We've done some events together. I know you. But if no one knows you, what would you say about yourself? How would you introduce yourself?
Man, that's a heck of a question. A lot of people that don't know me or see me at an event for the first time, they're like, man, you look mean. And then once they talk to me, they're like, oh, wow, you're actually kind of a nice guy.
You are a very nice guy. I don't think that the first time I really kind of met you and really connected with you was during Paravation last June. Mm-hmm. And you got there about the same time I do. And then she was like, needing help with the tables and stuff like that. So I got to see you, not just you behind the table. So I got to know you before, just walking by.
Yeah.
So
it's, it's not, that, though. It's not much to know. I've been in this field a long time, and it's my passion. And if I'm not at work or on the road with the paranormal, I'm a homebody and by myself and keep to myself, and pretty simple guy.
I noticed that you don't get out there as much as we all do, but if you're an author, you have a lot of writing to do. You probably are going to stay home. So,
yeah.
a quick shout out to a couple of people. One, we have Crystal says hi.
Hi, Crystal.
She says hello. And Debbie, she says hi there. Sabrina, hi Sabrina. And then Sabrina says, Ernie.
Hey, Sabrina. That's super Sabrina. I'll have to repost a picture of her and I at the bash.
Oh,
Super
yes,
Sabrina.
yes.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Super Sabrina? No.
Yes, she had her mask
Oh,
and cape
yes,
on.
the cape. Okay, okay. And then another Ernie Maurer says hello, Ernie. So we got two Ernies
Hey,
right
it's
there.
not. The only other Ernie I know in the paranormal is Ernie Pack. That's it.
Yeah.
So now there's
And
three of us.
then now there's three of you. I don't know many Ernies. I actually don't. And then Shauna says, hi, guys.
Shauna, what's up?
Shauna says, my mom said to me, come on, you're going to meet Ernie. He smells so good. Come on, you'll see. And that's Holly Cataldo's daughter, Shauna. You know what, Shauna? I'm going to agree with that because Ernie does always smell so good.
She, man, I tell you, my wife Ruby and I, we loved Holly to death, but she used to always get me because every year we'd be at the bash, and like somebody would say to Holly, like, "Oh my goodness, where you been? You're so tan. You look so good," and she'd be like, "Yeah, I'm tan, but it's not one of them Ernie tans," because she always used to tease me about being tan.
She was so sweet. She was the life of the party.
She was,
Sometimes
yeah.
she just was. She knew everybody
Hmm.
and went around and made sure everybody, like, she just was a connector of people.
Yeah,
She really
yeah.
did.
She was.
Jonathan, sorry, we're getting
Holly
comments like crazy.
Holly was one of the very first people that Ruby met when she came to. I don't know if it was the first or second bash because she would come up and spend the day with all of us and then come back home. And she was introduced to Holly, and it was just a instant friendship. You know what I mean?
Hmm. I think anybody that was introduced to Holly was an instant friendship. I mean,
Yeah,
how could you not? And I feel the
right.
same way about Shauna. I like
Yeah,
instantly.
Shauna
She's the
is
same way.
such Shauna's such a I don't even know what adjective to use, but she's one of those people that you don't really have to be friends with or really know. And when within 30 seconds, it's like, oh wow, I've known this girl my whole life. You know, she's so nice.
I agree. I agree. Jonathan Larson says, hi, kids.
Jonathan Larson.
And Deanna, hello.
Hey,
Hello,
Deanna.
everyone. And Susan says, hi, y'all. Oh, here's your buddy, Andrew
Who's that?
Darling. Hey, my faves, just stopping by to say hi real quick. Busy, busy, busy. As you know, be
I,
back soon.
I was actually speaking to Andy earlier today.
Yeah. And then Anna says, hey, hey.
And a banana.
And Jason asks, what's your smell secret, man? What's your
I can't.
smell
I
secret,
can't.
man?
I can't tell you because if I tell you, then everybody's going to be running around wearing my cologne, man.
Exactly.
I can't.
Exactly. Yep. Got to keep some secrets, right? You got to keep some secret. So, yeah. So you're paranormal.
I'll
Yeah.
give a hint.
Go ahead.
I'll give a hint.
Okay.
Johnny Depp is the model for the cologne on the commercial.
That's what he wears. I bought him that, but it smells different on every person, though. Like you could have the same cologne as Gary. He doesn't
All right.
wear it enough. I bought it for him.
I think it
I
depends.
know what it is.
A lot of it depends on your body makeup as well. You know what I mean?
Your pheromones. It mixes
Yeah.
with your own scent,
Mhm.
and it smells different on every. Um, Jason says, "I want to be your Padawan." And Andrew, darling, big moves coming. We know. We know. Can't wait to see more of you, Andrew, darling. We're gonna get you on the podcast too. So you are a paranormal investigator, but you're also an author, but you're also a police officer. So you have a very interesting life. No wonder why you go isolate
Yeah.
when you need
Well,
to.
the thing is, I mean, I'm fortunate if I do work an entire pay period. I only work 14 days a month. But you know, having that schedule really helps in the paranormal field because you know all the events we do. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
between work, the paranormal events, and of course, excuse me, anytime I do my writing, I'm at home. So I just you know, I'm a homebody. I like to keep to myself. I think it had, you know, we're around so many people all the time at events and things like that, that it's just your personal time is just so treasured,
Yeah.
if that
I
makes
know
sense.
we feel that way.
It's overwhelming
We do a
sometimes.
lot of events.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just got back yesterday. Had to go back to work today. We were supposed to leave Friday for another event that I think it's a camping out event, and
Yeah.
it's
I
now
know
been rained out. So I do
I
think
have a
I'm gonna not go.
I have a busy paranormal schedule coming up. It's starting in like a week. You know, it's going to be like a weekly thing.
Well,
But
tis the season, right?
I'm
That
sorry,
time
what
of
was
year.
that?
It's tis the season. The time of the year.
'Tis the season to be spooky.
It is to the season to be spooky, but have you? Because I know a little bit about you that maybe some people other don't about
Uh-oh.
your affliction to Christmas.
Uh,
Have you started Christmas decorating yet?
well, I'll put it to you like this. I'm halfway done Christmas shopping. Um, Ruby collects uh, elves. With like at Christmas time, we must have 100 elves in the house. So every year I add to her collection. So I already got Ruby this year's elves. So instead of packing them away, we already have them out. You know, and like we were discussing today, we were getting out empty tote containers so she can start packing away all the normal decor in the house and get ready for Christmas. But we start, fortunately, I'm off the week of Halloween. I'm off that entire week. I have nothing scheduled. And I'm off the weekend after Halloween, which is November 1st. So November 1st, we will start the decorating.
I think, and you go all out. Like
Yes.
I've seen your pictures, and you also end up doing posts. Like when do you start your post on Facebook about Christmas? I love those. I
Oh, what
absolutely
I
love them.
do is I'm already started my collection because it takes me a while. And what I try to do is starting November 1st up until Christmas Day, each day I just like to post a nostalgic or historic like Christmas picture. Just one a day, you know, from November till Christmas. And I try to keep it something that us older folks, you know, when we see it, it kind of takes you back a little bit. Back before the world went crazy.
I loved them last year. I just loved them. I can't wait
Oh,
for
wait till this year, man.
them.
I've been gathering my photos for about a month or two now. So
11 months.
Yeah.
Been
Sabrina
gathering for
says you
11
are her
months.
favorite elf. Ernie is her favorite elf.
who said that?
Sabrina Marie. So yes, I have a love for Christmas too. That's why.
I absolutely I do. I
Mhm.
in July, it's such an obsession. Like in July, when they have Christmas in July movies, I start recording them. And then seriously, August 1st, I start watching my Christmas movies every year. So I'm already a month into Christmas movies, man. I'm serious.
Yeah, you got your obsession with Christmas like I have mine with Halloween. Like I'm
But
like,
see, I'm still that way with Halloween though, too, right? You know?
mhm. I know it's all I just love that from Halloween until Christmas, New Year's. That whole season is like just my favorite. It really
Yeah.
is. But you're really into that nostalgia, and that's
Oh,
kind of what your new book is about, right?
my
Like,
well, my first two. I know a lot of people watching probably have read my first two books, or maybe my first book, and of course, the first two were paranormal, and it
mhm,
was nonfiction, and it was basically a timeline of my life and several things like that. And for those that read it, I'm sure they'll agree it was kind of, if I may use the term, deep. Or
It was very deep, very
yeah,
emotional.
very
Yes.
exactly. So
Yes.
this is what happened, man. This is why I came up with this book. I was doing a book signing at Ghost City Tours, and
Hmm.
also at the Bash last year. I was sitting there and I was selling my books, and it was mostly adults, and they would have children there. And I don't mean this in any sort of negative way, but the adults were all excited about, purchasing my book and what it was about. And I was like, you know what? I want to do a fun book. I want to do something fun that will cater a little bit to the generation of today. Yet, folks in my age bracket, when they read it, they'll appreciate it just as much because it'll take them back.
Yeah.
So the objective was to do a fun book, um, not about the paranormal. I wanted to step out of my comfort zone. And what I came up with was just a very nostalgic Halloween book catered toward a younger reader and then people my age. So it's basically a walk through the 1970s to the 80s of some crazy Halloween adventures I had, how Halloween used to be, what Halloween meant to us, and also in the book, like, everything today that's celebrated that has to do with Halloween, ranging from candy
Hmm.
corn to black cats to witches, pumpkins, whatever else.
Pumpkins. I got a pumpkin this weekend. A
Well,
jack-o'-lantern.
in this book, I was able to get the origins of everything, basically where, why, and how these traditions started and how we carried them over into today. But
That
the
is what
fun,
I'm most
the,
excited about
the,
reading.
the thing is, it's so funny. If you read my first two, it's basically each chapter's like a different story, but it's a timeline. And the same goes for this book. It's just a spooky, funny, some crazy mishaps I got into as a kid, and explains all about Halloween and what we used to do back then. And I really think that people's going to get a kick out of it. It's just, I wanted something. I've gotten so many comments about your books are so emotional and they're so intense, and I
Mhm.
cried when which is great. That means I'm reaching people and
I
they're
cried.
feeling what I felt. That was the point. But I just wanted something where if you're having a bad day and you come home and you want to laugh or giggle, you just pick this book up and it's going to be fun. And
Mhm.
hopefully I nailed it.
So this might be more of the what do you call it? Like the bathroom reading. No, I don't want to
I
say
think
your books belong in the bathroom. I'm just saying.
no,
Mhm.
this one is a good book to sit out on the porch with a cup of coffee and enjoy the fall weather
Mhm.
and read about all the
Yeah.
stuff that comes along with the fall.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know, like I know some history with Halloween because being Celtic, I have a Celtic background, with jack-o'-lanterns. I'm sure you picked up on why they're called jack-o'-lanterns. I'm not going to give away
Yes.
anything that's in your book. So,
Do you know why they're
um,
called jack-o'-lanterns?
because of Jack and the guy named Jack. I'm gonna make a post about it here soon.
Uh,
But there was a man named Jack,
yep.
and he was made a deal with the devil, basically.
Yep. But originally, it wasn't a pumpkin that was carved. A lot of people don't
It
know
was
that.
a gourd, right? A squash, right?
I'm going to save it for the reader.
I think I don't quite remember, but I do remember recently. Yeah, I was looking that up, and it is. There's a lot of Celtic traditions in
Yes.
Halloween, but
And
there's
you know
also
what?
yeah.
I know I'm older than you guys, and I don't want to ask your age,
You're
but
not that much older than him. Actually, I think you two are very close in age.
Gary, she said that, not me. But I think you know what's funny now. I think people around our age that read that new book, I think I've mentioned things in there. They're going to be like, oh wow, I forgot about that. Like, darn, we used to do that. You know what? It's going to be a
Mhm.
lot of fun.
Tell me you talk about, like, the night before Halloween and what you do.
I sure do.
Okay.
Hey, I described it
This is for
Baltimore
Jenny.
style, so I'll leave it at that.
Well, I'm from Baltimore, so I know
Oh,
Baltimore.
that's right. You told me that. You told me that.
Yes, and
Wait
he is
till
well.
hey,
Oh yeah, we did the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stacy. Let me tell you, I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to keep it a surprise. What you're going to love most about this book
Uh-huh.
is my dedication page. It
Oh,
probably make you cry.
probably. See,
It,
I thought you were going to give me a book where it didn't make me cry.
well, I forgot you're from Baltimore, so
I know your books are just amazing. They really are. You you need to keep writing. I just want to tell you that you need to keep writing. You have a talent. Like, when did you know you had this talent as a writer? How did you figure that out?
well, it's very funny because you may have heard me say this a million and one times, but as a child, I developed a serious love of reading. I don't know why. Like, you know how in school they used to say, hey, pick a book and in 2 weeks, it's a book report's due or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would go to the library at school on a Friday, pick a book and have like 2 or 3 or 4 weeks to read, whatever. I used to go home that Friday night and read the whole book. Like once I
Yeah.
started, it was like a alternate reality for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I read so much. And I remember my grandmother saying, because I wasn't the best student in the world, but I read a lot. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember my grandmother, I always used to tell her, when I grow up, I'm going to write a book. And her response used to be, well, based on the way you do your homework, you better start now. And, but how it all started, I always wanted to write a book as a child, but I had no
Mm-hmm.
idea what I wanted to write about.
Yeah.
But like I said, I wasn't a very good student in school. I was very intelligent, but I was just lazy and I cared more about the athletics than the academics. So I started over the years doing a lot of podcast interviews. And I've had several people after interviewing me, and one of the biggest influences was Pam Barry. Because after an interview, when we spoke on the phone, she was like, "Man, you need to write a book." And I kind of laughed it off. I never gave it two thoughts. Well, Ted Van Son from WLFE DB Radio, the
Yes.
network
Yes.
I'm on.
Mhm.
Ted contacted me and said, "Hey, I know you like to read. If I send you a rough draft of my book, my newest book, can you read it like super quick and write the foreword?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So Ted sent me the rough draft of his book. I read it in like 2 nights. I wrote the foreword, sent it up, and his publishing people, they liked it. Not only did they use my writing for the foreword, but I was on the back cover. So when I got my copy of his book and I seen my words and my name, I felt like I couldn't even tell you. I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my God, look, it's my
Yeah.
name."
You're right.
And so now the wheels started turning about a book, but I just didn't know what to write.
Mhm.
So Dave Seiler and I, we're doing
Mhm.
our Paranormal Inc thing. We're in our hometown and we're doing one of our lectures. And we had a big crowd, sold out crowd. We're doing our lecture. And a lady raised her hand and she said, "Hey, I got a 2-part question for you." And I was like, "Sure, what's that?" And she goes, "Whatever made you get into this field and why the hell do you do it?" And Stacy, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, "There's my book."
There's your book.
And that,
Mhm.
but I never,
Mhm.
like, I've had a lot of people, cause see, you know how I am in person, Stacy. When I get in front of the camera or on an interview, I'm blah, 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 and I'm all over the place. But in
Mhm.
person, I'm not that talkative.
Unless you know the
Right.
person,
Like
right?
I'm
Yeah.
very,
Mhm.
very standoffish. So I kind of never really knew like I would be able to write a book. Like I just didn't know that about myself. And
Mhm.
after I wrote my first one, I had people tell me like, wow, like you are so descriptive in your writing and you made me feel like I was there. And, I got all these very kind words. And I even had a very dear friend of mine that I've worked in this field with forever ask me if I had a ghostwriter because she was like, I've known you and worked with you for years, and I just never knew this about you. And I was like, no, it's all me. I'm just as surprised as everybody else. So
That's amazing. And like, so your two other books, you have the and I don't have them written in front of me. I know
the
I have
first one,
the
the
parent
first one is Paranormal, My Chosen Journey,
My Chosen Journey, and the other one's
and the second
Paranormal
one is Paranormal, Always a Realm Away.
Always a Realm Away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I've read the second one. I have not read the first. I need to read the first, but I have read the second.
You, if you like the second one, the first one really sets the stage. I mean, you don't
Okay.
have to read the first one to know. I mean, it's not like a sequel. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you read the first one, it really sets the stage because it starts off in the very early 70s and encounters that my family had that introduced me into the field. And then my very first experience at age 11. And it really set the stage
Mhm.
for.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, I don't know. I couldn't stop reading. And I'm like you. I mean, you can see, hold on, I'm trying to point. I have this bookshelf right here, and that's just one of my bookshelves. I
Right.
have books. Oh, I have books like stacked on the floors, like as decoration, but like I have books everywhere. I'm an avid reader. I fell in love with reading when I was younger as well. I think like Ashley, what she said, you get to live everyone's lives and aspirations, dreams, and visions.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you just get lost. Like you said, you get lost in it, and
Yeah.
it's an escape. It's definitely an
Mhm.
escape from like
Oh,
reality.
it's nothing in the world like it. I mean, I love it.
Mhm.
I tell you what I started doing. There was certain books as a child in the 70s, and I actually found a couple of them from a series that I liked, and they have them on Amazon, and I bought them, and I'm rereading them. I mean, it's like a book for like a sixth grader or something, but
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's
they're still good books.
oh, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Mhm.
You know what? I tell you what. You know what book I own? I have. You guys know I'm a big toy collector. I have
Yeah.
from toys from the 1940s all the way up to present day. And one section of my collection, I have a lot of. I've always been a Peter Pan fan. And I have the old Peter Pan book before it, what I like to say, before it got Disneyed up.
Mhm.
Like, and I
Yeah.
mean, that's a whole separate show, but before
Yeah.
Disney put their twist on it and made it
Mhm.
child friendly,
Yeah.
you know, but I have one of those copies of the original.
That is really cool. I
Yeah.
had one of the original Through the Looking Glass,
Oh,
which
really?
is now what people would know as Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
I have one of those originals as well. So
Right.
yeah, I think that's why like we do get along a lot, and I think it's we both have that affinity for reading and do you have any like I have an Irish background. My grandfather worked for the newspaper. It was the Baltimore Sun. My grandfather worked for the Baltimore Sun. um and like that's just an Irish thing. I have this love for reading, love for writing. Do you have that in your background?
Very very tiny.
Okay.
It's
So
tiny, but it's there. Wait, that
it's
didn't
there.
sound
Maybe
good.
that's where it comes from.
That didn't sound too good.
Trying to keep this podcast
Yeah, it
clean.
didn't. But yeah, very, very, very.
Ring the bell.
Uh
He's like, I
yeah,
gotta
that
ring
was.
the bell. Hey, we all, it is what it is.
No, I honestly, I very, very tiny bit of Irish somewhere in there.
So Maggie Wolf says it's tiny. LOL.
I was not trying to be funny. That just came out wrong. Seriously.
I know. And look,
I try
Sean
not
said,
to. If you see me in person, I
well,
try not to even curse.
I know you do. But I was actually
It's
talking to
okay.
people because
What's that?
there are times I was talking to some people this weekend, and there are times at this podcast I do have to rate it as explicit because we do tend to have some
Yeah.
conversations. So I was like, "Oh, we got Ernie this weekend. It's not going to
Yeah,
go big."
I don't curse.
No, you don't. You were very I hate to use the word nostalgic again, but you were just a very well-rounded. There's a word I'm looking for. If someone knows what word I'm looking for, I put it in the comments. But
Manner.
he's just you're just very. I don't want to use the word proper because that sounds like silly, but you're just all around good guy. You're like I would never know you were from Baltimore. Meeting you, like you're just like that wholesome. That's the word,
I,
wholesome.
I try to
Shauna
be.
says wholesome, humble man, and you really are.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Wholesome,
that.
humble man, and you are. Like, I think when I first met you, I was like, because you smelled so good. You're a very good looking guy, and I
Oh,
was like,
thank
oh,
you.
he's just another one of those, paranormal guys that are going to try to get in my pants.
Right.
Hey, what are you
But
talking about?
you're not. You were very, and as I got to know you, I'm like, you're a gentleman. You really are, and that's that specialness about you.
I
And
appreciate that. Thank you.
it's very refreshing in this field to have that. So yeah. Jason Darden says wholesome, but didn't spell it HOL. I don't know if you can see the comments when I put them up here.
I would need a magnifying glass. They're so tiny.
Okay, yeah. He spelled it HOLSUME. He smells like I do because I just put my video up. I just edited my video today with my son's music, my intro video, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I spelled sponsors with a C. I am horrible at spelling. So, but Bonnie says hello, hi there. Yeah, Susan says you're a
Real gentleman.
real gentleman.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Shauna says you're genuine. Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah,
And
but
Jocelyn, hi Jocelyn.
all
We
these,
got the peaches here.
all these folks saying these kind things about me. I know a lot of them or have at least met them, and they're absolutely the same way. So I mean, right back at you.
I'm not very wholesome.
I want to talk about you,
No,
Stacy.
I know.
Gary already filled me in about you.
No. But yes, you always went. So I'm going to ask the question. I know I've had you on when in my other podcast, I've asked this question, but I think we need to ask it again. And I know it's in some of your books. Like, what got you into this paranormal field? And I would love for you to tell that story about how you and Dave met.
I growing up, at a certain point in my life, I lived with my grandparents, and they were very strict Roman Catholics. And I eventually, in seventh grade, I guess yeah, I guess I was about, I don't know, 11 years old, whatever. But I went to Catholic school, so my school was attached to my church that I grew up going to, and I always for some reason, I always had an infatuation with hearing stories about angels and visions of religious figures and things along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was, when I was old enough to I would go to a library or whatever. I would find as many books as I could because I had this passion for reading. Then I had this obsession with angels and spirits and visions. So I just started researching and reading everything I could, involving that. And like I said earlier, at age 11, I had my very first paranormal experience where I encountered the apparition of a priest, and he was in the basement of my church. So that just, fueled the fire as far as my passion for all of this. But as time went on, before paranormal was an everyday word, it wasn't as mainstream. Okay. I mean, you heard about, like, you would see on the news or read in the paper about the Warrens investigating something, or somewhere in another state there was an alleged haunting or demonic, whatever. But paranormal had just not come mainstream yet.
Yeah.
So once it did, and I started, like, checking out what all this hoopla is about, I was like, wait a minute. That's kind of like what I know, but it's called paranormal. To me, it was always something spiritual, because
Mysticism. Like
the
there's
way I
yeah.
got into it was educating myself about prophetic visions and apparitions, and
Mhm.
visions of angels. So
Yeah.
it kind of like all come together. And
Like
I
Fatima,
went.
like
What's that?
like the Fatima, like with
With
the
the
bleeding
children?
tears and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the well, I wrote about that, about the children and the vision of the Blessed Mother. I think it was in my first
Mhm.
book, but actually that is the name of my church and my school, Our Lady of Fatima.
Really?
Wow.
Well, the funny
Yes.
thing is, like, this is, I just wanted to bring this book up because my neighbor gave this to me. This one's called My Human Heart. And this is where science and faith meet. And he goes and does some of those scientific, like, experiments on Fatima and on like some of those
Mm-hmm.
miracles that we've, because I'm Catholic as well.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those miracles, and that's where we're very, I think I knew that's why we got along, because I'm very similar. That's where mine started with, like,
Now,
in
do you
Catholicism, we grow up with that mysticism like
mhm.
that.
Have you've heard of the Blessed Mother statue that is rumored to actually shed real
Yes,
tears?
yes,
Well,
yes. It's
that
in his
that's
book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
that statue of the Blessed Mother came to my church, and that's actually in because I was there when it arrived, and that's actually in my first book.
I got to read the first book.
Yeah.
I got to get myself a copy and read the first book.
All right, I
Yeah.
gotta ask you. Which book did you read?
Mhm.
The second one.
The second one. Yes.
Did you read? I'm not trying to. I'm reason. Did you read the entire book yet?
Not the entire book yet. No, I've just started.
Okay. I was
Like
going to. I was.
maybe a little bit into it. Yeah.
I was going to ask your opinion on a chapter, but I don't think you've made it that far yet. So we'll
Okay.
save that question for the next interview.
Okay. I wanted to. I kept trying, like, well, I'm reading another book right now, and I was trying to get through it. I'm like, and then I'll finish Ernie's, but I wanted to get it done before we got here. But I just,
Yeah.
I had an event this weekend and all that kind of stuff. But
Now the one you're currently reading, I really elaborate on. If you've seen my episode on haunted hospitals, I go into that whole thing in
Mhm.
book number 2.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've seen the episode. Yes, and we've talked about it. So Lauren Molly's on here and says Ernie's books are amazing. Um, yes, such a great story. And then wait until you read the new upcoming one. Sorry for all caps. She put it in
Loren,
all caps.
that
Loren. Is
young
that what it is?
that
Loren?
young that
I
young
don't have my
lady right
glasses
there,
on.
young lady right there, she's the one that does all my publishing work for me. Let me tell you something. She has 8 or 10 books out.
Oh, wow.
And let me tell you something. All the thousands of books I've read since age 9, her I read one of her fictional novels, and it
Um,
was, if not the best book I've ever read. I
really?
actually read, and this book was long too, and I actually read it in 2 sittings. I couldn't stop. Like, I was actually sad that it ended, because it just kept getting, like, every time I thought I had it figured out, it went a different direction.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh man, I completely,
Okay. I got to look it up.
I'll
Stories
tell you
like
how
that.
good this, I'll tell you how good her book is. I actually forgot that she's my friend and that she wrote it, because I was so in that book, like in that setting.
Yeah. So it's
Look,
Loren. Is that how Loren? Can
Loren.
you put your
Yes.
book in the comments, please?
Yes. Or
I want to read it.
hers are on
Plug
Amazon
yourself,
as
please.
well.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Please plug yourself. Use the comments. Put it in there. I would love to read it. I love books.
Yes.
I like
Oh,
fiction. I
it's.
like nonfiction, but
Let me tell you, I'm not going to give a thing away about it, but it was one. It was just so suspenseful and
so it's a suspense novel. Okay.
it
It's called The Bedtime Killer, is what she said. She
yes,
says,
It's
I'm
the
honored.
bedtime killer.
Thank you. It's The Bedtime Killer. Okay.
yes,
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up.
very good.
I always like to find new books to read. So
Yes,
yeah. So
actually,
this is your third book.
Loren bought me this Halloween mug for my birthday.
Oh, awesome. Okay, hold on. A Peking Tom turns serial killer.
Oh, it's so
Wait,
good.
Loren, did I meet you somewhere? I think I've talked to you about this book. Because that sounds like I don't think I've read the book.
Or is that a different book? I'm confused.
But I feel like I've talked to you about this before.
Oh, Peking Tom.
Because I'm always the one at like the Paracons and all these conventions I go to. I'm seeking out the authors and I'm like, okay, let me see if I can get some new books. I have something I want to ask you. I have this love affair with old used bookstores.
Mm.
How, is that the same for you? Like when you go into an old used bookstore?
I don't think I can never recall being in one.
Oh, okay. Maybe you should start going. I don't know. It's just something like these are books that people have read before, so it has their energy in it, and it's like things that they've given away. I don't know. It's like treasures. I feel like I find treasures.
I don't
So
know how
Lauren says, I used to be a conjurer. I made a few movies. One you might love is The Storyteller of Pain, which is about demons and a psych ward. Oh, I don't know, Lauren, if you know that I'm a psychologist. So.
I'm actually currently reading that one.
Okay.
The Storyteller of Pain. I'm actually reading that one.
That's my background. I've worked in a psych ward too. So, oh, she's got a lot of them. Oh, okay. I got a list. I got to make a list. The Very Devil herself is another one of mine. Me and Ernie have done a paranormal investigation together before. Wait. Me and Ernie also have done a paranormal investigation before too. So it might be that too. Oh yeah, maybe I've just seen you on that. Yes. But yes. So, someone says, Ernie, the Emporium in West York. I am going to agree with that. Talk about, if you like nostalgia, you need to go to the Emporium in West York. That's like the bookstore there. Oh, it's amazing. I'm actually that's where we're from, Crystal. We're actually from York. So. So yes, that's your new homework is to go into a used bookstore.
I will make it a point.
Okay. So you got into this paranormal world. I love this story. Do you feel like do you mind sharing it, like how you ended up getting into investigating and stuff like that, like with
yeah, it was pretty simple. Like like I said, my passion was with the research.
Mm-hmm.
And when I bought my house in 1999, some teenagers in the neighborhood, they decided they were going to go on a paranormal investigation one night within the county where we live, and they invited me along because they knew I researched different things. So I was like, yeah, what the heck? I'll go. Well, without even knowing it, like I captured my first piece of evidence. And from 99 until, from 99 on, I kind of I would go out on my own, try to go in certain places, typical, investigating crap. In '04, my friend Larry and I had an experience in Gettysburg while we were up there on a day trip. And we had an experience. It was unbelievable. And that kind of like kicked it into high gear for me. I eventually was asked to be a guest investigator on a team that was investigating somewhere one night. And halfway through, I was asked if I wanted to join this paranormal team, which I stayed with for about 6 years. In doing so, we were like the last year or two that I was with them, we were looking for an investigator. And Dave and I had become friends meeting at our karate school. So I knew eventually I found out Dave was into the paranormal. So I invited him to be interviewed by the team or whatever, and he became an investigator on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So around 2017, I decided that I wanted to step away from the team, kind of go solo. I was starting like lectures and seminars and things along those lines. And Dave told me that if I left the team, he was going to come with me and he would handle all the tech part of it since that's his baby. So in 2017, Dave and I formed Paranormal Inc, which everyone that sees us at the events, they see Paranormal Inc. And we basically, it's the whole circuit with the lectures and seminars, and we host public investigations all over the country, and of course our podcast. So it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, you guys do a lot of great things. You guys really
Yeah.
do. Loren said that the story about the cemetery, Ernie, is a great one from childhood.
The what? The story about
the story about the cemetery is a great
Loren,
one
are
from
you?
childhood.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure she was referring to my book and not something she. Yeah, I'll try not to give it away.
Yeah, because we want people to go get your book and read it. So
yeah, I had for those that this is something that a lot of people don't know. When I was growing up, a block from my house was a park, and that's where we all played at. That's where every kid in the neighborhood met. We had a basketball court, we had a baseball field, we had the best hills for sleigh riding, and it was just the meeting area. And on top of one of the hills at the park was a fence, and on the other side of the fence was a cemetery. And my family's friends, people in the neighborhood, everyone's buried at that cemetery. Well, as a child, I used to go up on that hill and I'd sit up there and wait for my friends to arrive at the park. And I would sit there under the tree and I would read while I wait. And a few years ago, during the course of writing my first book, this wasn't the intention, but I had to go through my old neighborhood to get to DeVille Inc tattoo shop because I was hosting an event there. So I stopped at the old park that I grew up going to, and I just took a photograph of it. But that photograph was actually used for the cover of my first book. I actually took that photo. So for those that are getting my first book or have my first book, if you look at the cover, that is the actual park that I referenced. And on the other side of those trees is the actual cemetery that I wrote a chapter or two about in the book.
Wow. Like I'm from like that area. So what area in Baltimore are you from?
It's
Unless
from.
you don't want to give it away. But.
No, that's fine. I grew up in Dundalk. And
okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cemetery that I write about in the book is Oak Lawn Cemetery.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever had any alien encounters, we'll say?
I've had two. It's so funny, man. I was just talking, I can't remember the man's name about this. I've had two unexplained encounters in my life, okay? And I don't really know how. I mean, I know what I saw, I know what happened, but I have absolutely no idea what it was, what I encountered. And it's just, that's, as far as the whole like alien UFO up in the sky, I find that also fascinating, but that's just above my pay grade. I'm not that knowledgeable with it. So to answer your question, Gary, I've had two unexplained encounters in my life, and I don't know how to make sense of them because I'm not that educated on the topic.
Mhm.
Man, I can't remember the man's name, but he was at the bash with us, and that's his expertise. And
The
I said,
Tim,
what's that?
you talking about Tim?
Yes, yes,
Tim, yes.
yes. But I spoke to Tim about it for quite a while, and he believes what I encountered was legit.
Hmm.
But like I said, I can't make that determination. Now, if a ghost flew out of a spaceship, I could talk about that because it involves a ghost. But yes, as far
Can
as
you
the
hear
things
me?
in the sky, I'm just not that knowledgeable with it.
Yeah. No, I've seen a few things. I couldn't explain,
Mhm.
and I know it was no plane, whatever, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was not from here,
Well, see, like I said, I had two encounters that I can't explain. One of them occurred in 1987. And the funny thing is, two different. Now I can't tell you the name of the show, but it was one of the like Beyond the Unknown or Unexplained Sightings. Shows along those lines. I've seen that over the years on two different shows in two different parts of the country. People have described seeing the same thing that I saw in 1987. And the funny thing is, both people, now these were different years that they saw the same thing I did. They were both
Hey,
cops as
interrupt you
well.
real quick. We're having some technical difficulties with our
Okay,
sound.
sure.
We're not hearing you.
Well, I
So I know
was.
you can probably hear me. So we're going to
Yes.
try to reset. Okay. Go ahead and talk, Ernie. Let me see if I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
You can't. I cannot.
I
So I've
can.
lost you. You can hear
Uh
him.
oh.
Yeah. Here, take your earbud.
Okay. So what I'm going to have to do. Unmute. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. It's so good that any. So,
So all I know is he had to use the restroom and he was going to, so he was
Your
asking.
your audio's breaking up too.
It is. Yeah. We're having some, I don't know what's going on here.
Now you're fine now. Now I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Only hear you out of one ear. The other one does not
Lorenz
want to
was
work. It
talking
might
about
have died.
issue.
All right.
Talking about UFOs and then having technical issues. Lorenz
Uh oh.
did that.
I'm out. Hey, I'm outside too. Let me make sure
I don't know what Jason's talking about.
something's not looking down on me.
Yes. So you guys were talking about certain.
Yeah, what I was saying, just to sum it up, I
That's
encountered
better.
something in 1987 that I can't explain. And over the years, I've seen two television shows that took place in two different parts of the country, and two people described the same thing that I had saw back in 1987. And the
Okay.
funny thing is, both people that encountered the same thing, they were cops. And that I just found that funny, with me being a cop. But
Well,
two
yeah, I've heard
people.
that from a lot of different cops. They see things. Yeah.
But the thing is, when I was just a teenager when I saw what I saw.
Hmm.
But I think one of the cops on TV, he saw it in '95, and then another one in like 2000, something along those lines. But Gary asked me if I ever had like a alien encounter, and I was like, I've only thing I can say over my whole entire life, I've had two times in my life where I've seen something in the sky I can't. And I'm not educated enough on the whole. Other than thinking it's cool, I don't really know much about UFOs, like to give an opinion.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. He's going to bed.
Good night, Gary.
4 a.m.
Says good night. He's got to get up at 4 a.m. So he's going to get up. We're not, we're not much longer on here. We're hitting our hour soon. I'm usually about an hour 15. Um, but I know Loren said Tim Conwell, and so did Barry Marks.
That's it. Tim.
Yeah.
That's who
He
I was
will be
talking to.
here. He's actually going to be on the podcast as well. I believe I have him on sometime in October. I believe it might be September, but he is going to be on the podcast too. So we're going to finally talk some alien talk with him. He's a great guy when it comes to that. So, Jason Dardanelle said, "Where were you when you saw this in 1987?"
I can tell you if you're from Baltimore, you're going to know exactly where I was.
Okay.
I was leaving the movie theater, okay, and I was on. Do you know where? Man, I can't think. You know where Skateland is?
Yes.
The roller rink was next to
Absolutely.
Ross.
I used to go
Next
there
to.
all the time as a kid.
I used to work there.
Did you?
Yeah.
You probably.
Anyway.
I would come there. Yes.
Anyway,
I would come there.
I was coming up the road, my friend and we were passing Skateland and Ross's Crab House. So
Okay.
we were coming up. We were coming up on Merritt Boulevard,
Okay.
and that's where we encountered something.
You know, when I was a kid, I encountered something in there. This was more like maybe 1994. But
Oh my goodness! I was 94. I was already married.
That's when I was going to Skateland, about 94, 95.
Oh wow! That's
maybe 93.
wow.
Yeah,
I'm talking
I know
when I went there. It was very early 80s.
Okay. Yeah, I was
I
at
tell you
the
what.
end of the skating era, so like.
Look, Stacy, I used to go to the original skate. That's the new Skateland. I used to go to the original one way down in Old Dundalk next door to the drive-in, which where skate.
Yes.
It's now a flea market.
Yes, it's a flea market now. My friend actually has a stand there, I think.
Yeah, that used to be the original Skateland where we used to go in the 70s.
Oh wow. There was a place in the 70s. I don't remember it. It was called Starlight Plaza, but it was more in Harford County.
Oh
And it
no.
was a skating rink. And that was
Oh wow.
North Point. Someone says North Point. We all know North Point.
North Point, yeah, and that's where I was leaving the North Point Plaza. I was leaving the movie theater, and my friend and I went and saw Top Gun, the original Top Gun, and that's when we encountered something.
It's funny, we saw Top Gun and then encountered something.
Yeah. And the thing is,
thanks, Jason. He says, I thought Stacy was old. I'm gonna have to. He's a neighbor. He only lives through a stone to his house. I'm gonna have to go get him. Yes. Oh, I miss that. I miss that area. I'm actually doing an event in the, I guess December, a Krampus event in Fells Point.
Oh wow!
So I'm very excited about that.
Stacy, listen to me. 80%, maybe 85% of my book coming out is all about Dundalk. Like everything takes place there, and Fells Point. I even talk about Fells Point in the book. Something about an event that occurred there. You're gonna love it.
That's like stomping grounds. I can't wait. So I don't want to get emotional, but I need to ask you this because I knew that we were both from the same area, but now the more you're talking about Dundalk and this stuff, like I had a friend who was murdered and found behind Stacy's Buffet. Do you remember that? Over, I think it was the Kmart in there in the woods back. They found her in there.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
And were you in that area as a police officer at that time? I don't know.
That is actually Baltimore County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I know exactly. I know. What year was that?
It would have been my 10th grade year. So 1995, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. She disappeared and we thought she ran away. She she had a lot of issues at home and a
Right,
lot of
right.
emotional stuff, and
But
she ran away. But yeah,
I
she
know,
was found.
I know exactly where you're talking about. Exactly where you're talking
Mhm.
about.
Yeah, that's where she was found at, and it was very surreal. She
Oh,
was
I know,
taken. Yeah, she
I
was
know.
taken. She was raped and murdered, and
Ah,
they did
so
eventually find the guy. They did. They did eventually
good.
find the guy, but it was. I think it was very traumatic for me
Yeah.
as
Oh,
a
I'm
young
not
teenager.
absolutely.
Mhm,
I know.
mhm.
I've had some occurrences in my. I mean, nothing to that extent, but I, you know, not just being a cop, but personal. You know, I've lost some people in some traumatic ways that I know exactly what you mean.
There's a lot of trauma in the world. There's a lot of, and as a mental health professional, it does always usually stem back to mental health.
Mhm.
It really does. I mean, there are some people that just are, I guess, born that way. But it's sad. It's that we have this much trauma in our world.
Wow.
I
Oh,
mean,
I
I'm sure
know.
you've seen a lot more things than I have,
I,
but
yeah. I've seen. What is that? I always say is like my eyes have seen things that my brain will never forget. You know, and
well, that's called
it's
that vicarious trauma.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to figure. I've been. I mean, I know we're off topic, but you know, I'm coming up.
Well, not really. My podcast gets to the feels
Uh,
sometimes. So
I've been a cop for 27 years. I've seen some things. You know.
yeah, I actually just working with a client who her father was a police officer. But this was in Pennsylvania, and he was like undercover and did some really serious work, and he did a major drug bust, and one of the cartels figured out who he was and his name and publicized it, so they
Mm,
had to have like security come to the house, and she remembers growing up like that, like
mm.
with that security. Have you ever felt that way being a cop, that your life was threatened just because you were a cop or because you busted somebody?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we've had some scares where you know we would be. This is going years back where we would be working a case, and one in particular, we were working a case, and one of the attorneys never showed up for court and turned up dead. So
Mm,
our first thought was, "Uh-oh, we're next." You know what I mean?
yeah.
But it can get scary. I've done the plain clothes undercover. I've done that, and you know I've been in shopping malls and seen people, and you know So I've been in some pretty over the years. I can relate. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it is. It's intense. I wanted to highlight that because I want to thank you for what you do. I think there's been a lot. I mean, there has been recently of people not appreciating the men in blue so much.
They because
So
people only know what other people tell them and what they see on
Mhm,
the news. I'm not saying that just like any profession, there's bad people. Okay.
mhm.
But, you know, good stuff, kind stuff, that's not exciting to watch.
No, it's
People
not.
like people like the negative stuff and the drama and like reasons to justify their ignorance. So, you know, unfortunately, we live in a world where it seems that you only see the negative sides of everything, not just police.
And
And
people complain about the news showing all of this,
yeah,
but
but they don't
that's what we
understand
want
that.
to see. That's what people
Right.
want to see.
Yeah, they don't you know, they don't see when we bring somebody back to life or when we're trying to save a life and a child dies in our arms. You know, they don't know the public don't see that.
Yeah,
You
or
know, the
talking
only
down
thing they
someone
see
from a
is,
bridge. You know,
you know, is like what was that?
I said, or talking down someone that's about to go over a bridge. You know,
I
Like, you guys are the first responders.
yeah, me, and it's funny you say that because just about 2 years ago, we had a jumper on a bridge, and myself and one of my coworkers talked to her for about 3 hours, and unfortunately, she jumped. And I knew a way to get into the creek where she had jumped,
Okay.
and we actually jumped in and pulled her out and brought her back till the paramedics got there and she lived. But I mean, certain things like that you just don't. But
Yeah.
people,
Then that's the stuff they should be showing. Like,
I'll give you a good example. And you may have seen it. I put it on my social media page. We have a rookie cop at work, great guy, young kid, and he rescued a 6-week old kitten that was wedged up underneath the wheel well of a car. Like, he worked on this for an hour and a half to save this kitten, 6-week old kitten.
yeah.
Not only did he save this kitten, he called his mother, had his mother meet him at the police station. His mother took the kitten to the vet, and now this young officer owns the kitten. He kept him.
Yeah.
And, it just, but something like that, unfortunately today isn't newsworthy.
It's not. And I'm just going to highlight it here. Jason, you called me old. So I'm going to call you. I'm going to use you as an example. So when we started talking emotional and emotion stuff, and I had said that comment about, sometimes we get to emotions on my show because, I'm a therapist. And Jason says, let's not talk down this road. How about them bears? It's stuff like that. We don't want to deal with things that make us feel the sadness, the deepness. Yes, we want it. Anger is where we want to be. Anger
Man.
or happiness or joy.
Mhm.
Like, but it seems like that anger is like our go-to emotion. And even just in these comments, that's where it kind of went. Speaking of books, have you ever read Book of Mortals by Ted Decker?
Mm-mm.
I don't know if you read fiction. It's a fiction book. It's a 3-part series, and it's about a post-apocalyptic society where all emotions from the human race they found a way to remove all emotion but one emotion.
Oh, wow.
Can you guess what that one emotion that they kept in the human race to control them?
What?
Anxiety, fear.
Yeah.
But all their emotions it was a very good book. I have
Yeah, I
them. I'll
mean,
look for them sometime.
that
But
makes total sense. Yeah.
and it does. And I think that's what it is. Like, our society, I don't think there's not a they that did it. I'm just saying that there's this, it's easier for us, scientifically, like our brain gets addicted to the chemicals that are released when we are in guilt, fear,
Mhm.
shame, those anger. We like those chemicals. So our brain gets addicted. So we just keep circling it. And that's why we
Yeah.
like to hear this stuff. We like to do the bad stuff and look at all the negative things.
Yeah.
So, because like I think you had picked up on it, like, because it releases us from the bad things within us.
Right. Yeah.
We can focus on the bad things of others.
All right. Exactly. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will lighten it up before we end. We're getting ready to end here soon. Susan asked about Bigfoot. Have you ever had any Bigfoot, Sasquatch, cryptid experiences?
I haven't. I've been invited on some quests, so to speak. So I might eventually have to jump out of my comfort zone of apparitions and spirits and go hunt Bigfoot.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, Bigfoot ain't coming near Baltimore. So, if he spent most of his time there, he ain't going to see him there. I don't know, maybe in some of the backwoods of like Back Neck River. I don't know.
Well, let me tell you, because I live in a surrounding county, outside of Baltimore. And years ago, they were building a new shopping mall. And they had two eyewitnesses on TV that claimed to have seen Bigfoot at this construction site. One of them was the construction workers, and
Okay.
one of them was a county police. And they said that it's a true story. It's probably whenever the mall was built. It's been a while now, but they actually claimed they saw Bigfoot at the construction site of the mall.
Hey, he could be anywhere. Food, like
Hey,
I know it is. So, let's see. I know, Jason. I'm just messing. I do tend to. I did ask Ernie and Loren said, Jason, yeah. Plus, he's off duty talking about on duty stuff. I did ask Ernie ahead of time if there was any off limit questions, and he said, I'm an open book. So,
whatever you want to have.
but back to books. He's an open book. Let's back to books. So we have 3 books. Can we expect another one? Or you got one in the works? Yes, you do.
Expect another one.
I'm not going to use my psychic abilities, but I have a feeling I know.
Let me tell you, just to plug this third book. Let me tell you what I came up with. For those that read 1 or 2 or read 1 and 2, I talk about my grandfather Ernie a lot, and how he was such an inspiration, in my life, and I tell stories about him in my book. And he's one of the reasons I wrote the book, is because I wanted to have something concrete that I can pick up, and he's always there, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, I was getting like September 21st is the day that he passed away in 2003. And I had to set the date for my third book release. So that's why I set it for September 23rd or 21st to kind of honor him in some sort of way.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, my third book's about Halloween. It's not paranormal like we were talking about, but since it was close to the date, I pushed it to the 21st, just to honor him a little bit. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that's amazing. So everybody can, your book's only on Amazon. You don't have a website, right? You can they go on Amazon and
right.
Get your books.
My book will be available on Amazon September 21st.
Okay.
However, any of the events that I'm at, you can get all 3 of my books there, because I will actually be at an event I just found out today on September 21st. So I will have my book there. And I will be doing a book signing on October 5th at Ghost City Tours in Gettysburg. So as of October 5th, you'll be able to buy my book in Gettysburg as well.
Yes. So we have September 21st. Do you know where you're going to be? Can you announce that yet?
Check this out. This is so cool.
Okay.
I will be, Dave and I, we were asked to be, to speak a little bit, as well as lead an investigation at the Samuel Miller Mansion in Columbia, PA. Everyone that's Daryl Marston fans knows that Daryl's been there.
And Ron and Lourdes is going to be there, right? That same weekend?
No. Not that I know. Not that I know.
Okay, they're another weekend.
Let me tell you what's special about this. Miss Laura Shirey, who used to run the paranormal. I'll tell you what's
special about it for me in just a second. Go ahead.
Okay. Miss Laura, who used to run the paranormal program at the Haldeman Mansion, which no longer has paranormal events, she is having a meetup on the 21st at Sam Miller Mansion. She's going to do a lot of speaking about the Haldeman Mansion and a lot of the fun things and evidence that was captured there. And myself and Dave Seiler, we hosted so many public events at Haldeman Mansion that we were asked to come in, and if we would speak about our adventures at the Haldeman Mansion And then once the whole seminar part of it is over, Dave and I will be leading the meetup group on a real paranormal investigation at a Sam Miller mansion.
Okay. Do you know that's 15 minutes from me?
I did not know that.
I know, and I actually have an event that day, so I'm not going to make it.
You
Every
know who
time there's an
did
event at Sam Miller Mansion, I can't make it.
when that got opened up? That actually, Loren, my publicist, who was in here, one of the events that I hosted at Sam Miller is the one she was at.
Oh, that's amazing. I need to get there. Like, it's literally 15 minutes from me.
Wow.
And that is my town. Like,
You've never been there?
Like, no, I've been there, but I've never
Oh,
been
okay.
when there's something going on.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot in Colombia. There's a lot going on there. I do a lot of urban investigation in Colombia because we're more cryptid, Bigfoot, alien stuff. And there's an Albatwitch. I do an Albatwitch festival there that actually on October 5th, that's where I'll be at. So just that whole area, there's a graveyard there you need to check out in Colombia.
I saw
because I'm going to show you all the
I
stuff.
saw video. The lady Amy that runs or owns the mansion or whatever, she showed me video that she captured in that graveyard. I know where I haven't been there, but I know the graveyard you're referencing.
While you're there, you just got to take a minute and go over there and feel it. Like that graveyard is pretty intense.
Wow.
That whole area is very intense. The history of Colombia in general is very there's a lot of negative stuff, a lot of things that have happened there. Yeah. But yes, so Samuel Miller in Colombia on the 21st, and then 21st on October 5th.
Yeah. The 21st of September will be speaking and leading an investigation at Sam Miller Mansion. If anyone's interested, contact Laura Shirey from Haldeman Mansion. Everyone knows Laura. The weekend after that is the weekend after the 21st. I will be at the Warrens Paracon in Gettysburg, right where we were at for the bash. Dave and I will be up there for the Warrens Paracon.
Okay.
And then the Saturday after that, of course, I will be at Ghost City Tours. Doing a book signing of my new book. Yeah, and I'll be there from 3 p.m. till 9 p.m.
9 p.m. Right? Is that what it's?
So, yeah, stop on by. I'll have all three of my books there, and it's such a good time, man. It's such a great area where that store is. I just like
it is.
I just go stand outside. I love it. I
love that area.
Yeah, who doesn't love Gettysburg? Yeah. Who doesn't love
I won't be able to
Gettysburg?
come see you on the 5th, unfortunately, because I'll be in Colombia on the 5th. But I got to get your book. I might just order it off of Amazon, or connect with you somehow.
Yeah.
So a couple more before we end. Jason Darden wants to know, what is the tattoo on your wrist?
Oh my god, I got a bunch of them.
I think it's this one right there. I'm
right
pointing
there,
like you can see me point.
Yeah, right. I felt that.
Right there. Can you see it right there?
That is the initials of the original bike club I used to be in.
Okay.
Motorcycle club.
And motorcycle club. Okay. And then Loren said, remember we saw you going down the hallway, but you were standing next to me.
Woo! That
Haldeman Mansion?
No, Sam Miller Mansion.
Oh, that's Sam Miller. Yes, Jason, that's 15 minutes from you. And you ain't doing anything. You're gonna have to go for me.
Yeah, there's there's something going on in Sam Miller Mansion. I was actually speaking to
there is
Daryl Marston and Trey about that when we were at the bash together.
Yeah.
I'll put it to you this way. I've had 3 different people see me in the Sam Miller Mansion, and I wasn't in the Sam Miller Mansion.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I actually had a lady message me. True story. I was sitting in my living room, 2:30 in the morning, watching Family Guy, and my phone beeps, and I'm like, "Who the hell?" This lady was like, "Oh my God, Ernie, I know you don't know me. My group rented out the Sam Miller Mansion. We're investigating. And we thought that Amy was going to surprise us and had you there as a guest investigator because we saw you on the stairwell going down the hallway or something. And I'm like,
You need,
"Mm."
yeah, we need
I'm
to
like,
figure that
no,
out.
I'm at home eating cheese puffs, watching Family Guy. But that
Yeah.
I've had 3 people say they saw me in Sam Miller and I wasn't in the
Was
building.
it a real person or like an apparition?
It wasn't a real person.
So like apparition.
I
Yeah.
actually saw it myself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I tell you what makes it credible
Mhm.
is my partner
Doppelganger. Mhm.
My partner Dave Seiler saw this person, and everyone knows who Jeff Leeper is, Mr.
Mhm.
Demonologist from the
Yeah.
finale of Ghosts of Shepherdstown. Jeff
Yeah.
saw this apparition in there as well.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is weird. So
Yeah.
you're meant to be there. You're meant to be there. You got to figure it out. Like what is, yeah.
When I saw that, I've only seen this apparition once there, and it was so vivid that I thought someone snuck in the building prior to our public event starting and
Mhm.
was trying to hide from us. That's how
Hmm.
vivid this was. Yeah, it was no joke.
I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
have to look in, I'm gonna have to do my thing and I'm gonna see if I can figure out what's going on there. Crystal says, Ernie, have you ever investigated out by Chickies Rock? Lots of
Where?
stories about the woods there. Chickies Rock. It's he said where he probably it's where Sam Miller mentioned in Columbia. Like you go up the hill on the other side of 30. It's
Now,
called
when I
Chickies
go up
Rock. Mhm.
that way, I either have an event at the Haldeman Mansion or I turn left
Okay.
and have an event at the Sam Miller Mansion.
Okay. Well, it's when you turn the like when it's down. You probably drove past it, like the little area where you would go off to Chickies Rock, but there's trails and everything down there. There used to be a trolley that would go. There was actually a trolley down there that um literally fell off the mountain and killed all these people. Like
Oh,
there's a lot of history in there. That's where they say they see Albatwitch. I do a lot up there on Chickies Rock. Yeah,
maybe
so
I'll have
that's
to hook up with you guys and go there one evening.
yeah, I mean, I'll be in Jersey on the 21st, but I'll be back home by 8 probably. What time is your investigation?
The the speaking part is from 6 until 8, and then the
Oh, okay.
investigation is 8 o'clock till. I haven't got all the details yet. I just know it's the
Okay.
21st and starts at 6 o'clock, and I'll be there.
Okay.
So,
I might be able to make it for the investigation then because we're not staying the night in Jersey.
mhm.
So on my way home, I actually come right through there.
Oh
I'll
wow.
stop in. I'll see if I can. Hopefully, I can stop in and I'll get some tickets and see is that on their page. I guess Cinema Millions page. I can get tickets.
Either that or contact Laura Shirey, or I'm sure
Okay.
an announcement is going to be posted, and I can just
Okay.
keep a eye out for that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I think I'll be able to make it at least for the investigations. And then
Okay.
if are you staying overnight?
No, because that's only
Yeah.
hour and 15,
I know.
hour and 20 from my house. So
Shauna says your hair looks great. Stop. No, that's an anxiety thing, Shauna. I do that for anxiety. Um okay. So we definitely need to figure out like hopefully I can get there and then I'll show you around like Chickies Rock sometime if you're gonna be there that weekend or depending, we'll figure it out.
yeah, I'm like I said, Stacy, I'm only a little over an hour from there.
Yeah, I'm actually well, October 5th, you'll be at
Yeah, I'll be at
I don't know if
the
you want
bookstore.
to you'll be at the books. Yeah, so
Yeah.
excuse me. That's the Alba Twitch, but yeah, we got to hook up something. I've been wanting to do a more of a Bigfoot investigation here soon. It's just hard because a lot of these places are public land. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's not as like when you go to a house,
Yeah.
there's a lot of red tape when it comes to being able to publicly investigate on a
Yeah.
public land that usually closes at dusk. Okay, so Crystal says already posted. It's already posted, I think. So I will check that out You guys check that out too. If you want to hang out with Ernie for an investigation, see his lecture, and then hang out with him for an investigation, definitely check out the Samuel Miller Mansion. And then go to Amazon to look for his books. You can find him here on Facebook, and Paranormal Inc, INC is their group page. Any other links that you want me to shout out?
No, the only I mean, you can find everything on paranormalinc.net, or just find me on Facebook or my Paranormal Inc page, like you said. I'm also on Instagram, just Ernie Atwell. And I post all our upcoming events as well as everyone else's, and just keeping it short, like we just mentioned. September 21st, I'll be at Sam Miller. The 27th, 8th, and 9th, I'll be at the Warrens, Paracon, and Gettysburg. And then October 5th, I will be returning to Ghost City Tours in Gettysburg for a book signing of my 3rd book, which I know you all are going to love.
So excited about it.
It's about Halloween, and it's about mine and Stacy's hometown, and you're going to love it.
I am so super excited. Like I literally I'm getting giddy.
Look how you saw the cover. Look how excited I am on the cover.
I know, right? Like, look, I'll show it again. There's the cover. Look at him.
Yeah, the other side is the back, and yep. Hey,
So
guess where that?
This is the front. This is the back.
Guess where that photo was taken?
I don't know.
Sam Miller Mansion.
I was gonna say, is it Sam Miller?
And guess who took the photo?
That would probably be Loren.
Loren Malloy. Yep. Got to check her books out.
That's weird. We're talking about, and that's at Sam Miller, and have you? I in that area, not in Columbia, but there's Boobies Brewery. Have you ever been to Boobies? And this is an actual brewery. We're not going there.
I think I have.
Okay.
I think I have.
A lot of history there, and there is a connection. Historically, there's a connection.
Right. Yeah, I think I have been there.
There's a lot of mafia type.
After a while, and places start to run together, I had to think for a minute. It's we hosted. I tell you, it drove me crazy. We hosted. This place is haunted as crap. We hosted a public investigation in Maryland, where we're from. And I think we hosted 2 public investigations there. And then someone asked me the name of it. I could not remember the name of this place for nothing. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me here?
You know what I'd love to get a hold of and investigate?
What?
My mind literally just went blank. The catacombs, the Edgar Allan Poe.
I already did.
Have you? Oh,
I've
been in there.
Let me give you a minute. I'll give you the dumbed down version. We were the first people ever allowed in there overnight.
Okay.
2014, I was asked to be on a team for the pilot episode filming of a show. And we were at Westminster Hall. And we were down in the catacombs and all upstairs and all over. So it is very cool. But I don't think they don't allow
they don't.
No, only you can go over and do the tour, or on Halloween, I think they give a ghost tour. But we were the first people ever allowed to investigate in there overnight.
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't think they do public investigations anymore. They don't rent it out. Yeah, they do their own thing.
But I believe we were the first and last people ever in there actually overnight investigating. And it was
I may or may not have snuck in there when I was a teenager. May or may not.
Yeah, for those that don't know where
in Baltimore.
Westminster Hall is, right across from University of Maryland Hospital, shock trauma in Baltimore. It's right across from there.
Yes.
Actually, later this evening, Stacy,
Mhm.
I will send you some photos from when we were there filming. I got
That would
them.
be amazing. I would love to see
And
it.
I tell you who was with us. I don't know if you know her or not, but there's an actress. She's an actress slash model. She used to be on VH1. She was on that reality show that Trump had. I forget something about getting fired.
You're fired.
And yeah, and she's been on
Right.
like
Yeah, I don't
Steve
remember what it's called.
Harvey and but
Okay.
our friend Carrie Keegan, she was with us during that.
Yes, I
I'll
know
send.
that name.
Yeah, I'll send you the photos later. I'll send them to you in Messenger. It's a couple of them.
Oh, that would be so cool. That would be
Yeah,
so cool.
but I got an actual I got a nice shot of outside of Westminster Hall, and I got a nice photo of Carrie by the tombstone. It was good. It was good. I'll send them to
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'd love to see that. I'm excited now. All right. So anything else? Anybody else get your questions in? Like you got like 2 minutes. Anything else, Ernie, you want to plug, showcase, put out there for us? Anything you want to say?
No, I mean we got a lot coming up in the future, but I'll just keep it 3 events at a time. So Sam Miller,
That's what I
Lawrence
do.
Lawrence Paracon, and my book signing in Gettysburg. That's always
Okay.
such a good time, man. It's such a laid back, fun,
It
friendly
is
atmosphere,
very,
and
very
you
laid
know,
back.
if you haven't
Yes.
gotten my books, get them. You'll
Mhm.
enjoy them. I promise.
Yes. So we have Samuel Miller on the 21st. We have Warren Paracon, and that's the 28th, 26th, 27th,
27th, 27th through 29th.
29th in Gettysburg at the Eisenhower Hotel.
Yeah, it's 3 day event.
3-day event. And then I think if you just Google Warren Paracon, you'll be able to find
Yeah.
that information if you'd like to be there. And then October 5th, Ghost City Tours, which is at the square in Gettysburg, right at the little circle thing. It is right next to the blue and gray. If you guys know the blue and gray, look in the corner. There it is. It's actually in an old Masonic building. So it is the building itself is very historic where it's at. So, and Jason says, how do I book the Samuel Miller? Jason, I'll talk to you because if I'm gonna go, we'll go together. And
Yeah, you gotta. I'm not sure. Like I said, this just came my way today, so you'll have to contact Laura Shirey. I don't know. I don't know much. I spoke at the last meetup she had there. But I don't know how that works or whatever. Like I said, Dave and I were just asked to show up and be guests. So, but you'll have to contact her because I don't want to give you bad information.
Yeah, and I think it's on their Facebook page actually. And then Barry Mart says, be sure to get back up to Rochester, New York for the Parafest next year.
Absolutely. Hey,
you did that last year or this year.
June 5th, of course, the Rochester Parafest. And Barry, I'm working on. I wasn't going to, but everybody knows Santiago Cirillo.
He's a good friend of
Santiago.
mine. Yes.
Santiago might be joining me at the Rochester Parafest next year. He's got a lot going on, but we're going to try to make it work. So
That's awesome. Ashley, who's in here, and Jeff, they are doing the main Paracon next September, and we do have him as a guest, and that's exciting. So yes,
that is so cool.
And we talked about the main Paracon beforehand. If you would like to come to that, so
I am
I'll
there.
talk to you afterwards.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm there.
Exactly. It is, and they're actually doing It's the Augusta Civic Center, and they're going to do an investigation inside the building of the Augusta Civic Center. The first time ever doing an investigation in there.
For those watching this episode tonight, prior to going live on the air, Stacy and I were talking, and she was so excited. She's like, "Ernie, what are you doing next September?" I'm like, "Stacy, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow."
I said, well, this is what you're doing.
I will be there. I promise you, I will be there.
Yes.
Actually, I'm gonna have to talk to Santiago about it. I didn't know he was going to be there. Well, you just told me now. So.
Yeah, he's actually probably staying in here's Ashley. That's my event. This is Ashley Merrill. It's
Oh,
her event.
Ashley, what's up?
She's doing everything. So if you know Ashley and Jeff,
Yeah,
I'll
I do.
maybe I'll just add you to our group chat. Yes, so we definitely, yes, it's going to be a good event. And
Yeah,
they have already worked so hard, and it's still a year away. So
right.
it is going to be amazing. It is
That's
going
cool.
to be amazing.
It sounds cool.
Hmm.
And the folks throwing it, I know them. They're so nice. So
Oh my
it's not
goodness, aren't they like the sweetest people
it's
ever?
not a doubt in my mind that it won't be a hit.
Hmm. Exactly. And like I said, I think we're going to be the first ones to ever to investigate the Augusta Civic Center.
Wow.
So it's going to be very cool.
Very cool.
Okay. So you guys, Ernie, thank you so much for being on tonight.
Thank
I know
you.
you and I could probably sit here and talk all night long,
All
but
night long.
I appreciate it. There's like beds, and I got to get up for work in the morning, and keep doing what you're doing, because I just want to send my appreciation to you. One, as a writer, and two, as a police officer.
I appreciate that.
You
Thank you.
It's just amazing when those two worlds can collide. Like people just focus so much on the negative when it comes to that, and I
Well,
support.
to go
100.
along with what you're saying, a good majority of the things in my second book are about occurrences that happened regarding the paranormal while on duty at work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes, it
mhm,
is. I think that's why there's so
yeah.
much you've been able to see. So
Hmm.
Barry says, thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Ernie. Obviously, yes, you can thank us, but I'm thanking all of you that have been here in the chat tonight, all of you that have been commenting, all of you that have sent stars, all of you that have shared the page or viewed it. Like, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you watching. So thank you all for tuning in and being here for us and watching us tonight. So my last thought is, like I say every night, please remember to fill your cup first. Self-care. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Ernie, do you have any last words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom.
I put you on the spot.
Words of wisdom. Only thing I can say is, try to do, and it doesn't have to be anything big. Try to do one nice thing for somebody each day. It doesn't cost a thing to do that. It could be as simple as saying thank you or holding the door for someone or anything, because the smallest thing can actually make a person's day. I mean, the smallest thing can change a person's mood, give them a different outlook, or simply bring a smile to their face. And anything kind doesn't cost a darn thing. So be kind to each other.
I love that. I love that. And on that note, everybody have a wonderful evening.